Hello everybody and just here and welcome back to Hataraku maou-sama Season 2, Episode 8, if I'm not mistaken. Episode 8, indeed. It was supposed to release earlier, like yesterday at the very least, but yesterday I came home from work, I crashed on the couch, and I woke up today. So I I wasn't able to record it yesterday, but here it is finally. Episode 8. Um, it's probably going to be a beginning of a new arc. Because in previous episode, in episode 7, we ended the Beach Shack arc, I guess you could call it that. We now know fully what the deal was with Cameo, with all the other demons that came to this realm. We know what's the deal with Ogure. I think that's her name. Yeah, that Ogure is some sort of an envoy of God or a demigod, perhaps, or even a full-on deity. For sure, she's not just a regular human. That much is certain. And we know that things aren't going great in the demon realm, or at least they weren't going great. Because now that the demons know that Mao is alive and Mao will eventually return, it seems like things can be mended and the two factions that were at each other's throats can finally unite and the demon realm will be strengthened. We also found another Shard of Yesod, which was contained inside of the demon sword. Or was it something separate? I think it was a part of the sword. No. It was someone had this. No, wait. One Shard of Yesod was inside of the demon sword, and the other is in Olba's possession. Or was it that Olba had the Shard of Yesod in like a pendant and gave it to one of the demons to locate other shards? I think that might be it. I think there was like just a single shard that Olba had, gave away. Although would he be so stupid as to give away the shard? I don't know. I'm not sure. But what I am sure of is that Emilia has another shard of Yesod, and I'm assuming that's gonna strengthen her just a little bit. And we also have maybe not formal, but an informal alliance forming between all of the inhabitants of the human world, of the MgRonald's world, Mao, Emilia, Crestiabel, Alsiel. Everybody seems to be more or less on the same side. Even Ogure herself, she didn't like expel Mao back to Demon Realm or did nothing of the sort. She helped him expel the other demons, which was great, and I hope that that Ogure will appear sometime in the future. Right, since Ogure is a relative of the landlady of Mikiti, it stands to reason that Mikiti herself might be some sort of a supernatural being as well, or might have some ties to supernatural. It was shown in season 1 when I think she warned Mao about something. Yeah, there was a plot, something thereabouts. So yeah, she's another supernatural beings, and we are slowly but surely assembling an army, a group more like, that will, I hope, eventually march into Ente Isla, from Ente Isla into the human realms, and will unite humans and demons, all the inhabitants of the other world, into one big happy family. Right, I think that's it. Besides the fact that Mao and all of the events disrupted the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead, and some spirits started emerging from the sea, Ogure seems to have that covered. So I don't think it's gonna be relevant, but I guess it's worth mentioning that things are happening. and that the events are having like a tangible effect on this current world, on the world of the humans, as well as perhaps this world isn't as devoid of magic as Mao initially thought. Right? If you remember at the beginning of season 1, they were trying desperately to find magic to recharge themselves, right? Looking among the Moai, the Stonehenge, the pyramids, places like that. But it seems there are places like that even in Japan, like that beach shack that mysteriously disappeared. Was it even there in the first place? That's a good question. Yeah, yeah. I think now that's it. Now that's it, and we can just watch it. I haven't recorded in a while. I got a little bit rusty, I guess. Okay, here's your subs. As usual, you're gonna need them to sync up your copy. Here's my sound because I'm gonna need it to hear what the fuck's going on. And also reminder of support the channel on Patreon Throne if you want. If you don't want monetarily, you can also do that for free by sharing the content, spreading the word. It really does help a lot, and who knows, maybe eventually I'm gonna be able to do this full time, and I won't have to go to work, and I won't have to crash on my couch for like 11 hours, because I will not be so tired. Okay, as I said, let's start watching episode 8 of Hataraku Maou-sama season 2 in 3, 2, 1, go. Chiho and her parents. Oh, talking about Maou. Maou? Brother. Whomst? Something's gonna be up with the brother, I'm assuming. I mean, yeah, dripping water can get can get annoying. Lady Grey tea, my favorite recently. Okay, I guess yeah, McDonald's still closed. Nagano, isn't that yet? Doesn't that call for yet another like trip to some different prefecture? If I'm not mistaken, Nagano is a prefecture, right? I don't know geography of Japan, so forgive me if I'm spewing bullshit here. I'm guessing another travel arc of some sort. I guess there's only so much you can do when you're like constantly in the same areas, right? It's either McDonald's or the house, the apartment, sometimes like city streets. I guess a change of pace, a change of location could benefit this series. Is the camera zoomed in too much? Yeah, I think that's gonna be better. Whoop. There we go. Yeah, that should be better. Yeah, Nagano Prefecture. Odd to see him have car sickness. Yeah, probably, like, don't say it out loud. uh, sure. Sure. Akuma. Okay. I guess that actually works in Japanese. Akuma. Kuma. Okay, yeah. Was she? And they are here to fill in. Gotcha. That's a good question. Although her job isn't affected, right? Her office is still open. I'm guessing kappas are gonna be relevant in this arc. Shirikodama? Okay, so some weird myth, I'm guessing. Yeah, uncharacteristic for him. That's a lot. Does Urushihara not have a surname? Yeah, it's like an inn, almost, isn't it? Yeah, you're not vampires, you don't need an invitation. Okay, I guess that just tells you about the sheer scale of the building, or something. Or is it like a Japanese superstition or something that you should be able to see the stairs from the doorway? Like the, not yin yang, but the, whatchamacallit, the thing with arranging your rooms and places to live and stuff like that. Feng shui. Feng shui. That's the word. Boar. I thought it was a bear. They're not even. They're not even looking at her. Is she gonna get embarrassed now? She's gonna get embarrassed, of course. That's what mothers talk about. I mean, that's just how it works. What were you thinking? What? Another bout of embarrassment. I'm assuming things are gonna get complicated regardless. Yeah, fresh air. That's a private road, so you don't have to worry exactly. Okay, what constitutes light work? Weeding. So, not light work whatsoever. Exactly. Weeding ain't that easy, believe you me. I guess it's also a matter of nobody besides Mao being used to like physical labor. Mao does work at McRonald's. Ashia is a house husband. Urushihara is just a leech. So. Oh! Hello, Emmy! Hello, Emilia! Yeah, my question exactly! The fuck you doing here? And things have gone complicated, haven't they? Okay, so that's the story. Okay, that's the story. Gotcha. I guess it works. Okay, so it went well then. Can we also stay at your place? Oh, okay. I guess that's a solution as well, but you have an awful lot of time on your hands, Emmy. She has experience with farming. Sure, that much is true. But what about her job, though? Doesn't she work at a call center? Emmy? Chiho? Night crawling? Visiting Mao at night? Oh? So what? You're not like wearing a baby doll, girl. You're wearing pajamas. You don't need to steal yourself for anything. No, you're not sorry at all. You wanted to do that. Yeah, I don't see a problem either. As I said, it would be a different thing if she was wearing a baby doll and garter straps, but she's not. It's just a casual wear. No, she just wanted to show herself off. Okay, a romantic walk at night in the countryside. Because it's the countryside, there is no light pollution. Moonlight doesn't really contribute to light pollution all that much. It's mostly the lights of the cities. Because she doesn't trust him. Explain. Yeah, and how can that cause her to have mixed feelings, though? I guess? Maybe? Yeah, there is. It all depends on Emmy, honestly. Right now, it depends solely on Emmy. If she wants to be friends and strive for unity in their original world, then all's gonna go well. If she wants to be Mao's enemy, then all's not gonna go well. Really simple as simple as. Emmy, rise and shine. Farm work starts early. Yeah, ain't no time for farm work as 4 in the morning. And I was on the dot. First ray of sunshine hits the earth, means it's time for work. And she's cooking. Hanzo who? Oh, Urushihara. Hanzo Urushihara. That's his full name. Gotcha. How convenient! Or inconvenient. Depends how we look at it. Yeah, literally the first rays of sunshine. What's gonna happen with the bear that was prowling the woods, though? Is that gonna be the issue? Mao is gonna have to, I don't know, use his demonic powers to stop it or something. You're in a greenhouse, my dude. Because it's still cold. I guess. Okay, so they're the most nutritious at. Okay. I did not know that. I genuinely thought it's just about not getting a heat stroke. They will be overripe. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes a day of a difference really makes a difference. True. You know exactly what he thinks. Yeah. I mean, that's something. True. What is? Oh, going to sleep early? Nap. Midday nap. Absolutely. That's perfectly fine. You can't exactly work during midday. No, you gotta sign the nap because everybody's resting and napping during this time. Else, you're gonna get heat stroke. To see who? Oh, mother. Gotcha. And he's just surfing the web. Because of course he is. He isn't very friendly, is he? Very sociable. She's the designated cook, apparently. Hmm? The boar? A bear? A black bear? The most dangerous of bears. It's starving. Yeah, you can't outrun a bear. It's looking straight at you, and the little shit is gonna start crying. Of course, the little shit is gonna start crying. Well, shit. Cliffhanger? Cliffhanger. Of course. uh. Okay, question. Is Mao gonna use his demonic powers, or is Emilia gonna use her angelic powers? Could be either or. Probably better for them if it was Mao who used his powers, because it would be easier to explain that, yeah, he's a supernatural being, cool, than if Emilia used hers, because that would probably also involve Alas Ramus turning into a sword, and that's a little harder to explain, isn't it? Because it involves two people, Emilia being supernatural and Alas Ramus being supernatural, and the whole story about Alas Ramus being a daughter, a child that they're taking care of, crumbles as well. Yeah, which makes me think they might like go for that, and it might actually be Emilia who has to use her powers. We'll see. Fairly uneventful episode, all things considered. Honestly, very slice of life ish. Again, I guess we're gonna see some shit go down eventually, but as for now, there isn't much. There isn't much that went down. But regardless of that, let's go through this episode again, shall we? Soaked crackers. Soaked rice cracker. Soaked rice crackers aren't actually wet. Why the fuck are they called soaked then? I'ma Google that. I'ma Google that real quick. Come on, work with me, Firefox. Soaked rice crackers. Stir-fried Shanghai rice crackers. Okay, so you soak them and then you fry them. That's why they're not moist. Or something like that. Okay, cool. I guess every day you learn something new. Mao's apartment is fixed. It's the same as it's always been, down to the calendar on the refrigerator. But it's been fixed up, at least. Yeah, the full set isn't dripping anymore. I don't get, granted, I don't get how that full set works exactly. Because it seems like it has only one valve. How does that work? Yeah, it just has one valve. Is it just cold water? Or do you control the temperature of the water on like the boiler itself directly or something like that? I don't know. I don't know, man. Been a while since I've seen like twisted full set in the first place, but even if there were full sets that twist open, you'd usually have two valves, one for hot water, one for cold, and they would mix in the spout. I don't know. But hey, at least it's not dripping, so that's cool. There's nothing demonic about you anymore, and that causes mixed feelings, doesn't it, Emilia? I have a feeling it does. I mean, feeling, I don't need a feeling. It's been said pretty much explicitly. I think even way back in season 1, where Emilia was conflicted about Maou is sure Satan, demon lord that killed my father and burned the crops and oppressed humans and whatnot. But he's a cool dude. In here, he's hardworking, he's honest, he's just a good guy. And there's that cognitive dissonance to her image of Maou. So yeah, we've known it for a good while. That day off thing is nice, but isn't McGronald still closed? It is closed. But thankfully and conveniently, Chiho to the rescue, there is job to be done in Nagano. We're traveling a lot, aren't we, in the second half of this season? The devil begins farming. Was attacked by a wild boar. Okay, so right from the get-go, the grandma was attacked by a boar. Initially, I read it as a bear, because they were talking about bears, so I just kind of assumed that they're talking about bears, but no, it's a boar. So that checks out. Part-timers got scared of a boar. I guess if it was a boar with piglets, then sure. Be afraid, be very afraid. If it's just a lonely boar, probably not. That's some beautiful vistas. You just wanna place some recliner chairs on the edge of water here, set up a table with some cold drinks, some barbecue, and just spend time like that, right? Am I the only one who just loves spending time like that? I can't be the only one. Shouldn't you have invited Yusa? It's no business of hers where we go. Well, haha, little do you know. She thinks otherwise. A museum about Kappa. You couldn't have, whatchamacallit? You couldn't have foreshadowed Kappas being relevant more than you already did, even if you tried. That's foreshadowing and a half, if I've seen one. Your hobby is sumo, they love cucumbers, yeah, and they steal shirikodama from your abdomen. Shirikodama. Kodama is like, I don't know. Shirikodama is a mythical ball said to contain a person's soul, which is located inside the anus. Gotcha. Kappa sometimes take their victims' shirikodama in order to gain their powers. Okay, so soul is stored in the anus. At least according to Gegege no Kitaro Wiki. Yeah, no, even on Wikipedia, Shirikodama is placed in the victim's anus, and that's where you steal it from. Japan and its folklore. Yeah, nether regions, I understood it as maybe like abdomen. No, it's just the ass. They just put their little hand up your anus and rip out your soul. I fucking love Kappa. Humans lack all guts, just like Urushihara. Yeah, talking about huge house, stairway isn't visible from the door. Again, is it something about feng shui? Or is it just talking about this sheer scale? Sheer scale of the building. Hell happy family. Embarrassing Chiho a little. Including Mao. I feel like while we are here, I'll be able to see different sides of you. Mao, I just noticed, well, maybe not just noticed, but I noticed that Mao is an amazing, like a romance protagonist. He's not like completely oblivious. Even later, when Chiho came in, essentially just to show off her casual wear, Mao actually commented on that. If it was your everyday seasonal rom-com trash, he'd be completely oblivious, and then Chiho would go all pouty and probably slap him in the face, and he'd be left wondering what the fuck just happened. Right? Like we know the trope. We know the trope. We all know the trope of the dude somehow not being able to read minds and getting a punch in the face because of that. Mao thankfully knows what's up and reads minds preemptively. We won't make you do anything complicated. Harvesting and weeding. I mean, it might not be complicated, but it certainly isn't easy either. He's having easier time riding on the bed of the truck. I guess, like, I don't suffer motion sickness. I only have seasickness, at least used to. Haven't been on the sea in years and years, so maybe I'm already past it. But if I sometimes I do get a little nauseous when like on a long road, but it's mostly due to smells, not as much as due to motion. You can always smell just a little bit of like hot dashboard, a little bit of oil, a little bit of gasoline from the cars in front of you. It's all stuffy, it's all hot, it all smells. There is some air freshener that makes the air all the more stuffy, and I can see myself preferring to ride on the bed of the truck as well because of the fresh air. especially in this situation where you're not riding through the city, where the exhausts from all the cars around you are the air you're breathing. Here, it's actually fresh air. Eggplants, cucumbers, a little light work. Yeah, weeding ain't that light. Unless you have like a specific tools for that. There's like a super long stick with like three little grabby things at the bottom, and you can use that to pull out some weeds from the ground. But not every field will be weedable this way. If it's very tightly packed, if the leaves are super big, then you won't be able to reach there. And not every weed can be pulled out using this method. Sometimes you have to get on your knees, use a knife, and cut out the weed from the ground because they have so much roots. So weeding can absolutely get tiring. But I like this little detail of Mao being the least tired of them all. Sure, he's tired a little bit, but he's right back up if need be. Meanwhile, Urushiara and Alsiel aren't used to physical labor of any sort, any description, so they are just fucking dead. Hot spring. I almost thought that they have a hot spring on their property as well, but no, it's not quite that big. Let's meet up in the lobby. And here comes Alas Ramus. Out of nowhere. And of course, Emilia and Suzuno out of nowhere. I mean, out of nowhere, out of plot convenience. Kinda, sorta. And the explanation. Okay. Let me see the explanation again. I'm glad, though, that Urushihara has taken to Alas Ramus and Alas Ramus taken to Urushihara. That's gonna give him a little bit of motivation to do whatever, even if it's true to just go on a walk with Alas Ramus or go to a store to fetch something for her. You do need motivation like that sometimes. Okay, they asked Suzuno to babysit. Right. Yusa looks just like her mom. And then started crying for Mao, who has been acting as her father. Okay, so did I get the story right? Some unspecified couple left Alas Ramus in Mao's care. Mao asked Suzuno to babysit her while they're here. Sometime meanwhile, Alas Ramus looked at Emilia and mistook her for her mother, and that's how it all came to be. Is that it? Did I get it correctly? We looked into the area and found this hot spring hotel nearby. And yeah, true, like, you'd almost be able to forget that Emmy was actually raised on a wheat farm. That's interesting, by the way, and something we don't see often, where the hero or the main character or even like the antagonist or whoever that's important actually has some past that doesn't involve them being a chosen one. Very often you see something like, I don't know, the protagonist being an orphan found in the woods and being brought up by a witch and a steel golem acting as father, and was taught to create concoctions and to fight with steel bending or whatever, right? Those are the stories you always have. Very rarely do you have a story of, I just was daughter of a farmer and suddenly I had to become a hero. Now, sure, of course, yes, Emilia is half angel. She is the chosen one in one way or another. But when it comes to her upbringing, it wasn't anything special, was it? Only other story that comes to mind that also uses something similar, at least in recent memory, is a manga. The weakest occupation, blacksmith, is actually the strongest, or something along those lines. The main character was just a dude who was taking care of an inn with his parents, and then eventually got a useless occupation of a blacksmith, and then grew by being a blacksmith into being a force to be reckoned with. Creating his own armor, his own weapons, etc., etc., etc. One of the heroes in that series was his childhood friend, who also was taking care of the inn, and then suddenly a holy weapon manifested on like coming of age ceremony or whatever, and hey, you're a hero now. Congratulations. You're gonna have to risk your life to take care of the demon king or whatever. That was cool. That was cool. Nobody was like purely and solely the chosen one brought up to greatness, but just regular people who were dealt one such cards, and not any other type. Uh, it's not as though I don't understand your feelings, Emilia. Yeah, it's apparently about like Emilia is uneasy about Mao and the bunch farming. I'm gonna be honest, I don't quite get it. Like, I understand it, right? I understand it. Emilia was a farmer, her father was a farmer, Mao burned down the crops, destroyed the fields, killed the father. How dare he stand where my father stood? Kind of sort of deal. How dare he till the fields that he burned to the ground and sold it, right? That kind of thinking. I understand it, but I don't get it. I don't fully get why that's an issue for Emilia. Maybe it had more time to like fester in her mind and develop in the source material, but as far as this adaptation is concerned, it kind of came out of the left field, not gonna lie. Sorry, I need to gear myself up to show you. Again, there's nothing really to gear up for. As I mentioned, it's just a casual wear. It's just some sort of a, I don't know, a blouse and pants, and it's just a regular, not even a blouse. It's a dress. It's not a nightgown. It's not a full set of red lingerie. It's, but yeah, I guess Chiho is easily embarrassed, so sure, whatever. I can see that being a situation where she usually shows herself in like at her best, right? At work, it's the work uniform. Her hair is tidy and whatnot. Whenever she visits, she probably spends a little while before she visits on picking up something cool to wear, maybe applying some light makeup, maybe stuff like that. Here is her at her most basic, so to speak. Completely casual wear, probably zero makeup, zero effort put um, into her hairstyle. Yeah, I'm sorry I came here looking like this. Yeah, Mao doesn't care, but still comments on it. Right, that's what I mentioned before, that he really is a good romance protagonist. He would make a good romance protagonist. Instead of completely ignoring her and then getting slapped in the face, he acknowledges that, hey, you look different. Cool, I haven't seen you dressed so casually. That's refreshing. You look cute with your hair down. Right? Just a little bit of a comment, a little bit of a compliment. Nothing much, nothing major. Yeah, I can let my hair down at home. I can let my hair down at home, but I can't do it in front of just anyone. And yeah, just naturally moving to the topic at hand. I wanted to talk about Yusa. Mm, I wanted to say something more, but Can't remember what was it exactly that I wanted to say on the topic of Jiho being like all natural and casual. Did I have something to say or did I not? Can't remember it, so it means it wasn't anything special, anything in particular. And yeah, I think it's because the mountains are blocking some of the moonlight. That could be a part of it, but it's mostly due to light pollution. Light pollution is a huge, enormous issue in cities. When you go to the countryside, you can actually see the stars, you can actually see the Milky Way. Whenever you see photos of galaxies being visible on the night sky, when you see photos that look like this, it's not an exaggeration. The sky looks like this in the countryside. In places without light pollution, it actually genuinely looks this way. But a great majority of people won't know that because we live in cities, we live in the suburbia, and the light pollution simply causes the stars to not be visible. Very rarely do I see at night some of the brightest stars, like the North Star, Venus. Well, Venus isn't a star, but it's bright on the night sky, and like those single pinprick dots, and you kind of have to look at it with one eye then the other to confirm that yeah, it's actually something a little bit glowing there. It's not just my eyes playing tricks on me. That might actually genuinely be a star. uh I miss the days when the sky looked this way back when I was living in the countryside. That was cool. Looking at the looking at the stars, at the galaxies, at the night sky. Alas, I live in a city now. It has its conveniences for sure, but not being able to see the stars isn't one of them. It's especially bad in a certain spot. There is a place, a town, a village. I don't know what that is exactly. What does it classify as? Uh, but basically, they're growing like tomatoes there, hectares and hectares of tomatoes in like greenhouses, and there is always bright light that you can see on the night sky, right? You turn that way, it's dark, some lights from like the city center, the town square, but nothing too major. You turn in that direction and it's as if it was, as if the sun was rising because of the motherfucking tomatoes. And I can't get over that fact. How much does it contribute to light pollution? Now, it's been kind of better recently. I don't know what they did. I don't particularly care, but truth of the matter is, it's not great one way or the other. I went on too big of a rant. I'm gonna stop here. Let's continue. Uh, about you, Sam. Yeah, she has mixed feelings. I did remember that her family were farmers. We destroyed her home life. Yeah, how easy it is for me to imagine her reactions recently. Well, you have been hanging out an awful lot. Even more so ever since Alas Ramos came into the picture, so yeah, you can imagine her reactions because you see a lot of them. That's essentially what it boils down to. And there goes my tea. Hard for Yusa to come to terms with this. Yeah, again, it's all down to her mixed feelings about Mao, down to her cognitive dissonance. He knows Mao to be a monster, and here he is, just a regular guy working at McRonald's. Does not compute. Yeah, is it possible that all of the people I love can find happiness together? Probably not. And I think Mao is. I think Mao is mistaken here. I think there is a way. I think there is a way, but it's mostly down to Emilia. And it's mostly down to the events of this season, probably. Because we already know, well, we think we know, um, or rather, there are things that might lead us to believe that there is some grand conspiracy among the angels, that they are trying to usurp some of the gods' power, or rather, they're trying to keep the power that they have already usurped. That they need the tree of Sephiroth for that, that they need the shards of Yesod to bring the tree back to its former glory. But the question is the tree actually necessary, or is it just their tool of propaganda, essentially, right? We're taking care of this super important tree. Without it, you'll all be dead, so you better be grateful to us. That kind of a deal. If that turns out to be true, perhaps Emilia will end up disillusioned with things. Perhaps she will actually join forces with Mao. Mao himself has been focusing a lot on the demon realm and on conquering the humans and whatnot. But he's not about like conquering humans in a particularly bloody way, in a war, in a genocide, or anything of the sort. He likes the inventions, he likes the craftiness of humans, he would much rather assimilate them into his kingdom, and I'm assuming he will be striving to do just that. When or if he goes back to Ente Isla, he will not try to just conquer the human lands. He will try to incorporate them. He will try to take humans in and essentially mix demons and humans, create one happy family, as I mentioned before. And here's a... Is that a boar? No, that's not a boar. It doesn't have the tusks. It has to be the wild bear. And yeah, farm work does start early indeed. Very, very early. Earlier than anybody should ever be comfortable with, except farmers. They somehow live like that. I could never. Waking up at 6 in the morning for my work, that's hard as it is. I hope they're gonna assign me hours that are a little bit later. And yeah, of course, Urushihara was beat up because he didn't want to wake up. Because who the fuck would want to wake up at this hour, honestly? Picking up eggplants. And yeah, I genuinely did not think of the fact that there might be like more nutrition in the morning. I thought it's all down to like having a heat stroke. There is that Slavic demon. If you played The Witcher 3, it's called a Noon Wraith in The Witcher 3, Południca in Polish, which basically translates to like noon demon, so noon wraith, perfect translation. That was people's beliefs that if you work fields at noon, then the noon wraiths will attack you and take you with them, and they will kill you. You will die. Turns out, go figure. Noon wraiths were just essentially a personification of a heat stroke. Because if you were working fields at noon, then you would get a heat stroke because it's hot, because the sun is directly above you, and because there is absolutely no shade in the fields. So that's a perfect recipe for a heat stroke. So before noon came, people would run from the fields. Well, run. They would remove themselves from the fields, rest up at home, eat something, drink something, and then after noon they would go back to the fields, which is exactly what they're doing here, as we see later, right? A midday nap. Time to gather strength for the rest of the day, and a time to escape the heat stroke. Can't we finish? No. Things will be overripe. You don't want your food to be underripe, you don't want your food to be underripe either. This is a little bit odd on Yusa's part. You'd better not be regretting what you did. Yeah, I'm still angry. I still don't intend to forgive you. Yeah, but don't regret it. Why not regret it? Even now, she says that if you start regretting it, my thirst for revenge may waver a tiny bit. So that's why she doesn't want him to regret it, because she wants her thirst for revenge to be full on? Probably. And yeah, that is an issue between the two of them. Let's not take take it out on this place here. Let's not fight, let's not argue. Yeah, midday nap time. And we're taking the little kid to visit the mom and a bear. Kuma Uma. Akuma. It's thin, that's the worst. Because if a bear is full, if a bear is fed, it most likely won't attack humans. It might even like come around, sniff your hand, and then walk its own way. But if a bear is hungry, if a bear is starving, it will try to eat any sort of meat, and humans consist of meat, so bears will try to eat humans. Especially when it comes to black bears, they are the most ferocious of them all. You could maybe survive an encounter with a grizzly bear, with a brown bear, polar bear, maybe black bear. It will chase you down, it will hunt you down, it will climb trees to chase you. It will kill you. It's small, it's nimble, it's fast. You don't want to fuck around with black bears. And of course, the little shit started crying, because of course it did. And cliffhanger. Why does the bear have black eyes though? That's an interesting question. To make it more demon-like. Later we've seen it have like red glowing eyes. I wonder if there's some supernatural tomfuckery going on, and maybe it's an angel that cast a spell on the bear or something, or is it just genuinely a bear that's just hungry and is gonna attack them, and someone's gonna have to stop that. Whew. Okay, that was episode 8 of Hataraku maou-sama season 2. Fairly uneventful, all things considered. Very much feels like a start to a new arc, or a break between arcs. Could go either way. We could spend the rest of the season, the remaining like 4 episodes here, sure, because other things might be happening. Maybe something to do with kappas, maybe angels attacking again, maybe something like that. Absolutely can see that being the case, or it could all be over by the next episode. Just a time skip to okay, a fight with the black bear, then a time skip, and they're back to their apartment in Japan. MgRonald is open again, and we're back to status quo, and we start an actual proper next arc. Could go either way. Although the amount of foreshadowing with the kappa, the fact that the whole gang is here, the fact that the bear had those red eyes and is about to attack, all those things make me think that it's going to be a significant arc. Yeah, probably, maybe. I'm honestly not sure. This episode, regardless, feels very much slice of lifey. Not much has happened. I guess we got to meet Chiho's family a little bit more. We got to know Chiho a little better. We got to know Emi a little better. Maou and Emi had a chance to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart. And that's essentially it. That's essentially all. Nothing particularly major happened that would require talking about much more than what I already talked about. So I think I'm gonna end it here. So you guys, you tell me, maybe you have something more to say, and if so, do that in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? Don't spoil me anything. If you do want to talk spoilers, Discord here, also in the description, there's a link. You can join that server. There's a Hataraku maou-sama channel. You can go there, use spoiler tags to talk spoilers, and I'm not gonna read them, and everybody's gonna be happy. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Hataraku maou-sama, but also Yofukashi no Uta, Call of the Night, Symphogear GX currently, and further seasons and previous seasons, Madoka Magica, Overlord Season 4, Ruby Ice Queendom, and I also stream games sometimes, and I also play, whatchamacallit, Disco Elysium sometimes. Haven't had the time to do that recently, but I'm gonna finish what I started. You can be sure of that. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or Throne. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonals. For just $1 you get a role on the server and you get a place in the credits. And you can also support me in my pursuit to being able to live off of my channel solely and entirely, so that I don't have to crash on my couch and sleep 11 hours straight. On Throne, you can pitch in towards my purchase of some new gear, like a new camera, better lighting, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you can share my content, spread the word, because the word of mouth does matter a lot for the growth of a channel. Every single person you bring in to watch my content matters. So thank you if you do that. And yeah, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! Here's the credits I mentioned. Those people make sure I don't have to work any harder job than I already do. Thank you all so much. You can be one of them if only you so want.